Hello, all. Welcome back to my fragrance journey. My name is Ron, and today, if the title is appropriately l- done, it will hopefully highlight that this is a very random video. I wanted to make a video, I just didn't know what, and I thought, you know what? Let's just grab whatever I grab out of my stash. And I literally did just that. I just reached in and grabbed, didn't look. I mean, obviously, I kind of know how they all feel, but I just grabbed and whatever came out. And I stopped at 4. I thought that's a good number. And yeah, so I just want to make this, hopefully, as always, a zippy video. I say always, and I never actually deliver, but let's try. So these 4 fragrances, I'm gonna, cliff notes it because of that. And especially these are ones I have talked about a little bit in other places, perhaps Instagram and all that. But basically, these are, well, I shouldn't say these as a whole because they're not a grouping, it was random. But this one we'll start with is Lauren by Ralph Lauren. As you can see, beautiful burgundy red bottle here. Fingerprinted, as you can see. Well loved, well loved. Um, this is one that I just had to have. This is what was my mom's signature fragrance for many years. She no longer wears it because it's at a certain point it got very hard to find and then was discontinued and has always been very expensive online and only seems to get more expensive now on eBay and things. Um, so yeah, she stopped wearing this so many years back, and I though got a bottle because and I say that, I mean, you say, oh, you have a bottle, why don't you send that to your mom? Well, I'm greedy. But also, she just doesn't care. Like, the last time she was here, she sprayed a little on for old time's sake. Why not? But she just doesn't care that much. Um, but I do. I wanted to have this in my collection very much because, again, it's my mother. It's the memories I have of her, and she's still here very much. But just something about being able to have that scent memory, which is so powerful, just at the ready. And I also just think it's a gorgeous fragrance. So I have a bottle that I somehow, through the grace of I don't know who above, but I found online, incredibly inexpensive, and it's a legit bottle. I just can't ever believe it. I found this in like 2018 for like 85 bucks. This is the 100 ml bottle. You are not going to see that online anywhere for 85 bucks. It hundreds of dollars. Um, and it's so good. And it's not also because I know there's the whole thing about which manufacturer, blah blah blah. I'm pretty sure, and I don't even remember the name because I don't care as much, but I'm pretty sure this is, well, I know it is whatever the manufacturer it is that everybody does want, the one that stopped in like the last run, I think, was the late 90s, which is what this is from as far as what I have deciphered from the dating. Or this is from that last run that started in 97 or whatever. This is that manufacturer. I don't remember the name, or I don't guaranteed remember the name. I think it's Cosmere. But yeah, it's them. Whoever's the hot kid that everyone wants, I got them. And I got them for 85 bucks. Ha ha ha. I don't know why I'm gloating, but it really is a big win. Anyway, and I deserve it because this is my mother. But anyway, what does it smell like for all that memory and all that gloating? Well, this is described as a floral green fragrance. And it was launched, mind you, in 1978. One of the first fragrances that Ralph Lauren came out with, and it's so good. The nose behind it. There's actually 2. And I got Fragrantica up. I can scroll in a second and check if I remember. But Bernard Chant is one of them. Who've done a lot of things, including this little baby here that we'll talk about in a minute. But he did Lauren by Ralph Lauren, and oh, is it good? It's got a whole lot of notes in it. Actually, no, I've got the other page up for the other perfume that we'll be talking about. No, Lauren. I mean, there's still a few notes in this one too. It's not as much as Aromatics Elixir, which again we'll get to. I had that one up, but for Lauren, we've got in the top notes green notes, and it literally says that, green notes. Then clary sage, Brazilian rosewood, and pineapple, which I'm always surprised to see because I don't get her. And then the middle, we've got lilac, lily of the valley, or from my last video, I was educated in the comments, thank you, that sometimes it'll say muguet. But lily of the valley, Bulgarian rose, cyclamen, jasmine, and violet. And then in the base, we've got carnation, oak moss, sandalwood, cedar, and vetiver. I get the green notes. Those top notes, the green notes, I get them as top, middle, base, everywhere. Green, green, green. But it is not fresh greenery. It is also not... It's not... I don't know how to describe it. Like, basically, whatever you're thinking about a green fragrance, this ain't it. It's green in like... It's like they took all of the stems of all of those florals that were listed in the top, middle, and base. Well, the carnation's pretty apparent, but they took all the other florals. Maybe also skip the rose. But they took all the other florals, they took their stems, they crushed them up. That's what you get. It's almost not vegetal, but it's almost viney, like it's just green, like it's vine, or it's stems. It really is stems. So there is that like hint of floral quality to it for sure. As far as like all the florals listed, but it's their stems. That's really what it is, to me. And then again, do get a touch of the rose a little more apparently, and the carnation definitely. But again, I have to be like really smelling it and thinking about it. If I'm not thinking about it, it's just stems. It's stems in the best, most perfumed way. You do get that the base. I do get the oak moss. Sandalwood, cedar, vetiver, kinda. Cedar, not like in a pencil shavings way, that's for sure. Nothing really woody distinctly. Like it's really is the florals and the greens, but again, really just crushed stems. And that might not sound very exciting. That might sound kind of boring, but it's not, because there is a complexity, but it's just so well blended that nothing else is so very apparent, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's really good. It's really, like even taking my nostalgia and memories out of it, it's just really beautiful. And it's very, it's an older style in the way that it's not modern. I wouldn't say, if you're somebody who cares about things like old fashionedness or whatever, I wouldn't say it seems old fashioned. I actually think this one is different enough than a lot of more classic perfumes that it stands really amongst itself, and in a way seems very fresh today because it's different. But again, it's not a fresh scent. Not rank. It's just green in a very different way than I think most people are used to smelling it, especially modern greens. But oh, is it good? Oh, is it good? And you know, it's mom, so I like it a lot. Moving on. I'm trying to be quick, as always, and I never am. We have Tahitian Gardenia by Pacifica. Now this one, I think it's going the way of the dinosaur. I don't see it. The last time I looked, at least, I didn't see it on their website. Even on like their Amazon page, because they're one of the ones that has like a branded store on Amazon. I don't believe I saw it there. You can still get it online, and usually I think for not very much still. It's still within the 20s, because I think I initially paid like $20 for it. So within the 20s. And I say initially, I've bought several bottles. Like I've gone through bottles of this because it's so good. This is my spring summer scent. Absolutely. I mean, I wear what you want, when you want, is what I always say. And I do, but I want this. And when I want it is in spring and summer primarily. I do wear it in winter and fall or in autumn sometimes because I want those lovely bright moments sometimes through those cooler months. But it is fresh tuberose goodness, or tuberose. Oh my God. Shut up, Ron. It's fresh gardenia. It's literally in the name. I don't know where I said tuberose, but it's fresh gardenia. Tahitian Gardenia, that's what it's called. And it is Gardenia City, and I'm all for that because I love gardenia. That's one of my favorite, not just white florals, it's one of my favorite florals in general. One of my favorite notes in general is gardenia. And I'm a big fan of this because it is very delivering on that. You really smells like you're just shoving your face in a bush of gardenias in a pleasant way. Because you do get a little bit of the also greenness. You get a little bit of those leaves and things. The notes, I don't think I said because I was just freaking out about the gardenia, but surprise, surprise, there's gardenia, there's jasmine, sweet orange, and tea leaf. Those other three, aside from the gardenia, they're sure, whatever. All I get is gardenia in the most pleasing, pleasant, bright, fresh way. Nothing, yeah, zingy or fresh in that, or nothing zingy in the freshness, nothing citrusy, nothing floral aside from the gardenia, the tea leaf. I don't know. I don't know about those things. I get gardenia. And if you're a fan of it and you want it in a really fresh, realistic, and so uplifting like way, like this just makes me happy. I mean, all these fragrances make me happy, but that's like, if you're thinking of like happiness in a bottle or positivity or joy, well, I don't know about positivity, it's me, but good vibes in a bottle. It's Tahitian Gardenia by Pacifica. Now, back to Mr. Bernard Chant, and back to classic fragrances, and back to the 70s, because I believe this was 1971, what Fragrantica says. I'm scrolling down to the very long list of notes for the incomparable Aromatics Elixir. Now, this was the one that really started it all with me and getting into older fragrances, older style fragrances, old-fashioned fragrances, granny fragrances, whatever you want to say. I like it all because those are the kinds of things that I'm honestly very much into, and more as time goes on. And this is such a good one. Not everyone's favorite because she is strong. Very, very strong. But I love it. This is one, the way I describe it, and I kind of had like a little reference that I was thinking of, but again, I'm not trying to be super long-winded. Basically, well, okay, I'll kind of give it to you as Cliff Notes as I can be. Picture it. Sicily. No, just kidding. Picture it. A bohemian, hippie, free spirit, flower child, that kind of 70s, 60s, 70s kind of person, right? But now they're older. It's modern day. They're older. They're, 60s plus for sure. Well, 70s plus, all that. And they're maybe still a bit hippie-ish. They're maybe still a bit free spirit, a bit bohemian. But maybe they've got a little bit of money. Maybe now they're adults now, very much so. Grandparents, perhaps. They got money. Or maybe if they don't always have money, they at least, they treat themselves sometimes. And somehow, some way, whether it was a gift or something, even though they maybe don't always dive into the pool of capitalism and whatnot, they've got themselves a bottle of perfume, not an essential oil from the health food store. This is a perfume. And they've got Aromatics Elixir some way, somehow, because, and I'll get into the notes, but this is incense, friends. This is incense. I love incense, and this is it. But it's classy incense. And I mean, I don't think incense is necessarily like low class or anything, but in the way of just kind of like I described with my last video, Youth Do, being a customer of Elizabeth, wow. Names today. A customer of Estee Lauder. This is a Clinique customer type fragrance. Like, you're not surprised that Clinique has made this when you smell it. Especially once you have the context of when it came out. But at the same time, again, this is your bohemian hippie friend. They're mature. They've lived their life well, and they're still living it well. And their anniversary dinners, when they go off to maybe a museum and they have a beautiful night that maybe isn't chaining themselves to the tree. This is what they're wearing. God, what a wild story. But it's that person who, again, maybe they don't do a lot when it comes to spending big money and, again, feeding the capitalism train. But they've treated themselves, or they got gifted a bottle of this just incense goodness. And this is what they turn to for those special nights, for those nights when they are just wanting to feel a bit treaty and a bit indulgent in that way. And I love it. I wear it actually more than those types of occasions. Clearly, I've gone through a lot of this bottle. And again, this is a strong one. maxing out here at 4 sprays for me, and I can overspray, but that's basically overspraying for this, if you ask me. Because it's very strong. Kids would say it's a beast, and it is, but it's so good. It's just, ugh. Anyway, what are the notes? Well, there's a whole hell of a lot of notes, and I'm not going to list them all because we'd be here for another 10 minutes. What notes that I kind of do stand out to me a little bit. Again, this is very much one of those that blends enough to where I can't pick out a lot super distinctly, or maybe this one's just so intense that it's hard for me to. But it's aldehydes at the top. Yep, get that. Geranium. Coriander. Yeah, I could see it. And then some others. There's more. The middle notes, a carnation again, Bernard Chant. So carnation again, and yes, I do get that carnation a bit. Rose, also a little bit. Ylang ylang, orris. Yep. Base notes. Now this is where again we kind of come into, definitely I'm getting a lot of this base. Kind of like with Lauren, where I get more of the base a little bit. Aside from some of the top, same thing. It's kind of like with these Bernard Chants for me. I'm getting some of the top, hints of the middles, and then the bases for sure. Which, base is what lasts the longest and kind of intensifies as it sits. But anyway, oak moss, patchouli, incense, vetiver, sandalwood, and musk. Definitely the oak moss, definitely the patchouli, and definitely the incense. But again, this is classy. This is bougie incense. This is bougie bohemian. That is what this is. But bougie and like older money though. Like they've had money for a while. That's what this is, and it's really quite good. So definitely one that's still around. Unlike sadly Lauren, you can get Clinique's Aromatics Elixir, and I recommend you try it. I was gonna say I recommend you do. You need to try this one, but it's a good one to try. Moving on from all of these lovelies to something very different, hence the randomness. Kayali, Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar 42 in a very pretty little bottle for a very pretty little fragrance. It's sugar, hence the name. It's vanilla, hence the name. It's rock sugar at that. The notes go on to mention candied pear, which is also the other thing that I get. Like it's vanilla, juicy pear, sugar. That's it. That's all. I'll kind of go over a little bit more after, but that's really it. That's it. TLDR. But then yeah, so there's candied pear, sweet violet, and I'm reading on the back because they put them on there. Bubblegum, white caramel, rock sugar, and vanilla cream. So that candied pear, the rock sugar, the vanilla cream. Everything else, not so much, at least distinctly. But it is obviously all sweet notes, and it is sweet. It is sugary, to be sure. I love it, though. I wanted to dive into more true gourmands as far as perfume, not just like the odd body spray or candle or anything like that. I wanted to, as I've been diving in more recently, I wanted to get into the real, the popular girls, what everyone's raving about. I just wanted to see what was cooking. Literally, but these gourmands. But yeah, I got Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar because that just seemed like if I was going to go for it, I wanted to go for it. And that just seemed, the name alone, like candy, vanilla candy, why not? And I did, and I'm very glad for it. Clearly, I've got quite the big dent. Because this actually, for all that, this is my bedtime scent. This is my lay down night scent. Like this is so good. Not that it knocks you out, but it's got a soothing, very comforting quality. Comforting is the really the best term. It's very comforting. Like it is sweet, to be sure. This is two things where it's like a half step back. It is a half step back from being cloying. You overspray, and depending on your level of overspraying, it will be cloying for sure, especially in the beginning. Because it is quite, intense in the beginning, like most things can be. So it will be a lot in the beginning, just sugar city. But again, once it settles a bit and all that, and especially if you don't overspray, it's just a half step back from cloying. It's also a half step back from being so gourmand in today's kind of interpretation that it is truly edible. Like this doesn't make, I mean, it makes me think of rock candy and stuff to a degree and all that, but I don't smell it and think, like, I just think sweet. I don't think, oh, I'm going to be eating something. And that all is actually to its credit for me because again, I'm trying out gourmands, so maybe I didn't need to go, as much as I wanted to dive fully in the pool and the deep end. It maybe worked out for me that there's just a hint where we pulled it back because there is just a hint where it still is a perfume, just a hint though. And I say all that because I think for some people it would be very much over all those lines that I've mentioned, but for me it isn't. It's just a step back, half step at that. And it's very good though, and it's very comforting. And I like it enough that I really want to explore other Kayali creations now. I am curious. I actually more am because they did a gourmand in a way that again just barely wasn't so over the top for me. That it makes me curious where or to discover their other less gourmand fragrances to see kind of what they're doing on that end of the spectrum, and if those are maybe the opposite where they're quite not, they're not gourmands, but they're florals or whatever, but they just step like there is just a hint of gourmand, or it is just I want to see what they're doing with that, namely Wedding Silk Santal and Deja Vu White Flower, I think is called. Those two I'm very interested in. But anyway, Kayali Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar. It's also a good one. So these were my 4 random fragrances. I hope you watched this all the way through because I did rush this time. No, no. I hope you had a good time. If you did stick around, if you didn't, that's fine. But I hope you had a good time. I hope you're having a good day, and I will. Well, thank you for joining me on my fragrance journey. I'm trying to have consistent intros and outros. So thank you for joining me on my fragrance journey. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.